On today's episode, Peter and I talk about the smallest things, microbes, but they are so dynamic and we need more of them, don't we, Peter?
We certainly do.
Yeah,
the good ones we do.
Yeah, the good ones. Yeah, that's right. And the good ones can outweigh the bad ones.
They do. That's what they do.
It's about balance.
It's very much about balance.
Absolutely. Peter, where can people find you?
Biotobooster.com.au is the best way to find information about Biota Booster and to find my contact details.
If you are interested in growing fabulous veggies or trees or whatever it might be, Microbes is the way to go. Stay right through to the end. I'm Robin Cook. This is Stories from the Red Couch. I know you'll love it. It was fabulous to see you at the garden show on the weekend, Peter. I haven't seen you for ages. And the place was packed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When I'm there, though, and I see the most amazing plants, beautiful plants, and people are happy because they're buying all these gorgeous plants, and we know how good gardening is, but I worry about the state of the soil that people are going to put those plants in. I know, and you know, that microbes are the beginning of all things. Tell me about microbes, soil microbes.
Thanks, Rob. It's soil microbes for a start. They're microbes because they're very small, but their effects are vital. They are very big in the health scene. In fact, they're essential for both plant health, soil health, and human health. And nowadays, more and more so, we are in decline of health of systems and soils and people and plants due to environmental pressures as well as overpopulation as well as many, many pressures. And microbes have continued to prove to be the avenue where most progress is made as far as remediation or health is concerned.
Yeah.
The focus has always, over many, many years, been defining microbes and especially microbial balance as vital for health.
And we've spent maybe 1 or 2 generations trying to wipe them out in various ways, haven't we?
Yes. The microbes is bad. Was true at one time, but they're more vital than they are bad.
Yes.
There's an interesting point that some scientists are raising, is that you might have 5% beneficial microbes, 5% pathogenic microbes, and 90% mutualistic microbes. So the top 10% will notate who eats the bottom 90%.
Ah, yes.
So if you tip the balance at the top with the beneficial microbes, then you've got a far better opportunity to grow healthy systems.
So what sort of function do microbes have in the soil? What kind of things do they do?
They do, the science is incredible. They do lots and lots and lots of things, if not have impact on most physical changes.
Yes.
They make systems or soil aerobic rather than anaerobic, and in that process, that's what the living processes require to progress.
That's right, because plants need oxygen at their roots.
Correct.
As well as the top part of the plant. Yeah,
that's right.
It's incredible.
And it's the microbes that help really do that, as well as worms and moisture itself can draw air into the soil, but if it can't get through the crust, then it's going to run off, and this is where some of the issues from over bad product use, chemical use, is really amplified, and a lot of it blows away or runs off, which is not great for the reef at all. And it's kind of the essential point of regenerative farming is to create biofilters in all the roots to look after their own mess and utilise their own nutrients to create biomass.
Tell me what is about, because I think that It's an interesting thing that we all have to eat, you know, we all need to eat. And some of the plants that we like to eat don't grow here naturally, and so we're working against the system when it comes to that. What are your thoughts around seasonality and how growing things in season helps with soil health?
It complicates things a lot because it's the wrong context for our country for most of these foods. And so to support those foods or the money that they provide, it really means we've got to drag everything out of the soil in order to just get that year's harvest into the supermarkets, and it's a false system from a biological perspective. It's a system of decline from a biological perspective. And so that has to be altered. It simply has to be a biologically driven system in order to provide things that are reasonable. And then we have to change our context of what we eat and what we can achieve with the inputs that we're given. So you've got to trace it back to the inputs that you've got.
Yes.
To be able to produce to expectation.
Yeah. Do microbes also have a function in increasing the uptake of minerals into the plant? Yeah,
they've got many functions that supplement that or create that exact modes of action. They for example, there's multiple modes of action for my product, and one of the modes of action is to cover the roots so that pathogens can't get to the roots. Another mode of action is they eat the pathogen directly.
Yes.
Another mode of action is they eat the food that the pathogen would normally eat. So this is the scientific ways of what pushes what, how it actually makes difference to something in the soil. Something, somebody, some plant. They're all actual actions, and they're very small. And they're very complex, and then when you join them together, they become very, very much more complex.
And that's the difficult thing for, say, for a home gardener, for instance. It's been my habit in the past, not in the recent past, but in the distant past of, oh, well, if you put a little bit on, more must be better.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think that we cause a lot of harm when we do that.
That's what caused the Green Revolution. We need nitrogen as a chemical driver for the nitrogen cycle, for things to grow and breathe and decompose, and it's a necessary element. As soon as they started deriving it from natural gas or chemical processes, the Haber-Bosch process, it completely oversupplied the wrong sort of nitrogen. And the biology of the soil has been trying to cope ever since.
Because it's really a fine balance,
because
isn't
it's been oversupplied, because it gives a good, fast, green visual.
Yes, that lushness.
Yeah, people think it's work, but the more you use it, the more it builds up resiliencies and indeed biotic pressures like antibiotic resistance and things like that.
That's true.
Are really affected deeply by the chemistry in the soil.
In using something like your product, and I've used lots of microbes over the years, and it took me a while to get my head around the whole process of it. But you really are only using tiny amounts, aren't you? You don't need to use, for an average backyard, I've got an acre, and we've used it all over the place, and we've seen the results, and it's fabulous, so we continue to do that. But there's some part of my brain that still grapples with the volume that we're using. You really aren't using a lot, are you?
No.
Tell me how much you would use.
Well, everything's site specific, so it depends why you're using it, what your expectations are, how much I need to use to raise to those expectations, how much I need to feed the microbes to come up to the produce that you're expecting, for example. So everything's site specific, and it depends on the context.
Yes.
In general, I have a general dosage rate of 10 mils to 5,000 square metres. So the small bottles I sell in at 10 mils will do 5,000 square metres of soil area.
All right, well, I've got an acre and that's 4,000 square metres.
So you do over an acre with one small bottle. I tell people that the average garden, a small bottle will last them a year.
Yeah.
To give you a good generalisation, then they'll have enough to use as a foliar spray or to put a little bit extra on the sick plants.
Okay, so there's a point there too around when you apply something like this, because I'm thinking that I'll just go and spray it, but maybe there's an optimum time.
Yeah, well, you don't want to do it in the sun. You don't want to do it when it's too hot, because microbes don't like that. They're
living creatures.
They're living creatures that are adaptable to their environment, very adaptable to their environment. In fact, they will adapt the environment of the plant and the people, but you've got to give them a head start. You don't spray them on concrete in the sun.
Sure.
You're not going to see anything.
What about a food source? Do they come with their own food? Do they start eating straight away? Do you have to give them something?
Yes, no, yes.
No, sorry, I've just rattled off half a dozen questions there.
They are dormant in the bottle. They don't come with a food source in the bottle. That's why I can concentrate them so much. That's why this has more modes of action than any other single product. That's why you only need 20 mils per hectare with this product, because it is not a food source. It doesn't have nutrients in it. It doesn't have minerals in it. It just has the microbes in the right balance.
Okay.
And the preservatives to keep them there.
Okay.
So it itself doesn't contain a feed to get things going.
All right, so you have to give them something.
So it will come out of dormancy as soon as you apply it, as soon as you let it out of the bottle, and it will look for its food sources.
Okay.
That attachment to the plant is where your regeneration principles are really affected most, because if you feed it straight out of the bottle with a gut load of molasses, it's like me sitting on the couch here eating chips watching telly. I'm not going to go and farm or dig something up to eat, because I've got a satisfied full belly. I'm not going to go looking for anything else.
That's interesting.
So it's how you attach the microbes to the plants and then make them look for their own context of how they can supplement that
All
plant.
right, so I'm not going to put it on a bare patch of ground either, necessarily.
Why would you? Because it comes back to the context.
We're connecting the two things together.
You're not going to put it on bare dirt if you're trying to grow a lettuce. You're going to put it on the lettuce.
Yeah. Okay. What about other applications like dipping your seedlings in before you plant them, or maybe soaking your seeds?
Yeah. That's for
you can do that sort of thing?
Absolutely. For all the efficiencies for regenerative principle efficiencies, soaking seed in microbes is enormous. You might have heard of it. Ag in America, there's a company, a biotech company in America that are doing microbes very much like mine, and they are coating the seed of mixed cover crops in order to harness the biodiversity that is required to drive this new green revolution that they've started.
Yes.
And because they've joined it together with carbon markets and the mixed seed people, they've had to do multiple business organisation in order to sell their products, to sell their microbes as attached to the seed. It comes back to the modes of action that the microbes actually provide. So soaking seed is of an enormous importance.
Yeah, and that's something that any of us can do, can't
It's the best way to broadacre spread the microbes in context with the plant that they're already with. And it gets the microbes on the plant as early in its life cycle as possible to develop itself.
Sure.
So seed soaking is a wonderful way to use microbes.
And what about watering, making sure that there's enough moisture in the soil beforehand, because again, they're like us, really, aren't they?
Yes.
They'll
take the easy route. They will take the easy route. You've got to stand there and watch them and make sure that it's not too easy for them. Otherwise, like water flows downhill.
Yes.
You can't expect it to start looking uphill when it's got plenty of drivers downhill.
Okay.
So everything is site specific. Every plant has its own context. Once you organise it for one, then you've got a good generalisation for the rest in that situation.
Sure.
But using water as a carrier, the microbes will go.
Yeah.
And then they'll attach to anything that they can, and they will decompose and eat pretty much anything they can.
With microbes, does it come a time, like if you apply it, say, 4 times a year, is that would be a home gardener? Do you think, again, site specific, I understand that, but you know, would you just do that 4 times a year, or is it like fortnightly, or?
My minimum recommendation is once per crop for annuals and once per annum for perennials.
Oh, okay.
Because when the microbes are applied and they start working, they are working. And so it's about how you maintain that environment and feed it to continue their working. They will create more biomass, they will create more microbes in themselves if you keep the system fed appropriately.
Okay.
It's a fight against the environmental pressures and harvest and people doing the wrong things that means you need more. My biggest clients are hydroponic people who are harvesting every day, so they need to put more microbes back in every day.
Yeah.
I've got clients who've turned their soil brown literally by turning in cover crops. With one application 5 years ago, it's still brown now.
Okay.
Because he turns a cover crop in each year and refeeds it. And they're the appropriate micronutrients and nutrients and minerals for that crop.
That's great, because that's answered the question that I wanted, which was, is there a point at which there will be enough microbes in the soil?
I look forward to that.
Okay.
But, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it starts to refine and redefine more towards your context. If you want to grow trees, then you're actually aiming for more fungal dominant soil.
Yeah.
If you're aiming doing veggies, then bacterially dominant soil is probably
the fact that we're harvesting is what pulls them back out again.
That's what provides the requirement for the next crop.
Great. Okay, that's fantastic. So, Peter, how can people find you?
Best way is the website. Go to biodabooster.com and plenty of details on there. There's also a Facebook page. All the details are on the website.
That's fantastic. And .com.au?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Because we've done that before, haven't we? And we've had to put it down the bottom.
Yeah, sorry.
We do that all the time.
.com.au.
Yeah.
Biodabooster.com.au.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. I'm going to go out. I went to the garden show so that I could be re-inspired. I came across Peter, who's an old friend, and we've been talking ever since. I am so inspired to get back into my garden. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Rob.
So on today's episode, Peter and I talk about the tiniest things in the world. Yeah, microbes. So that's how I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to say,